I plan on giving you all the answers to your quiz, but while I have your attention, I would really like to talk about why we like things in standard form or in point slope form. So let me talk about why we like things in standard form for a second. And this has to do with applications, why we like things in certain forms. And let's suppose for a second we had a family and we had to feed them 4,000 calories each day of carbs. And I mean, we need carbs to live, right? I mean, we can't live on we need energy to live, right? And we had two choices. We had pasta, which would provide, let's say, 100 calories per serving, and we had rice. So we had two choices, pasta and rice, and let's say rice gave us 80 calories per serving. Well, right away you can see that if we just did pasta, right, and we completely ignored rice, we could give our family 40 servings right away. Servings. And if we just did rice, this is not a huge mental math leap, right? We would have 50 servings. So let's look at this graphically. And let's suppose we plotted, well, you pick, and then I'll decide. Let's put pasta here, pasta on the y-axis, and rice on the x-axis. So let's look at the combinations of pasta and rice that will give us 4,000 calories of carbs. Well, we just said right here that if we only did pasta and no rice, so rice is 0, right? So we're on this line right here, we're on the pasta axis or the y-axis or the vertical axis, right? This is all the points where rice is equal to 0. We would have 40 servings of pasta. And how much rice would we have? So the flip side is, what if the pasta was 0? So we're on the x-axis or the horizontal axis or the rice axis. What do you want to call it? We would have 50 servings of rice. And all the combinations of rice and pasta would fall along this line. And we'll talk about that in a second. That's not entirely intuitive right away, but let's see why, after we find the equation of this line, why all these combinations would satisfy our 4,000 calorie to carbs requirement. So I'm just going to write 4,000 calories because this line is going to represent 4,000 calories of carbs. Let me just put those equals there. Okay, so let's think about this in terms of slope-intercept. So what is the slope of this line? As I've said before, and I'll say it again, as soon as anyone says line, anything about a line, you should be thinking, what's the slope? What's the slope? I want to know the slope. Well, the slope is the rise over the run. So we can read the rise over the run right here. Here's the rise. Here's the run. It rises negative 40. That's like saying it sinks 40, but we have to talk in terms of rise, and it runs 50. So here our slope is negative 4/5. Now, what is our... Now we have our slope, and remember we're talking about slope-intercept. So let me write that, slope-intercept. We found our slope. We have to find our intercept. Right? We find our slope. Now what's our intercept? Well, our intercept is 0, 40. It's at the point y is equal to 40. So we can read it right from there. Let me go to blue. There's our blue. So write 40. I write plus 40 because it's a positive 40. Negative 4/5 x. y equals. Now we are done with the point slope formula, but let me go up here and let me put it in the standard form, and then we'll see right away why it makes sense to think about this in terms of standard form. So let's write this up here. Let's go to black. Y is equal to -4/5 x plus 40. Well, as soon as I see this fifth in here, this 4/5, I think, what if we multiply everything by 5? And I encourage you to write it out like this with these numbers. 5 times y is 5y. 5 times -4/5 x is -4x. 5 times 40 is 800. See how I got rid of the fraction really fast like that? So let's add 4x to both sides. And I'm going to look ahead, knowing full well that the form for standard form is ax plus by is equal to c, where a is an integer and it's positive. I'm going to write 4x first plus 5y is equal to, and these two cancel, and we generally cancel in red, is equal to 800. Now, why is this such a great form for this problem? Because if you think about the x-intercept, right, where we intercept the x-axis, this is at y equals 0. So you can consider crossing this out. Well, if y is equal to 0, 5 times y is equal to 0. And you can read this. X. If 4x is equal to 800, x must be equal to 50. Boom. It's right there. And if we want to find the y-intercept, that's where x is equal to 0, right? We're on the y-axis. Right there. 4 times 0 is 0. So you can read it right there. You can do mental math. I give you permission to do mental math. If 5 times y is equal to 800, y must equal 40, which is right there. Okay. I'll send up another video in just a second.